Hey, what's up guys, it's Handy. Welcome to a series that I'm going to call First Impression, and it's basically, I'm going to take a hero that I have not played, and in this case, today's video is going to be MEI, and only play like 1 or 2 games with her, or maybe 3, there's not really a stipulation, and basically get my first impression or thoughts on her as a character, or him, depending on the hero at the time, as a character in the meta, or the non-existent meta, or the infant meta, whatever you want to call it right now, and basically what I think they excel at and what I think they are kind of falling short on, because there's always going to be, if they're a good balanced character, pros and cons to each character. So, without taking too much time in the intro, let's go ahead and get into it. So, some things that I think MEI just super excels at: her survivability. If you are using her 1 and her 2 properly, MEI is just super hard to kill. With her 1 being invulnerable and it being able to heal, you can basically run around in circles on an objective or whatever else, or in a house, and if you space them out, you're 1 and you're 2 out. It's not too long of a cooldown, with it only being 10 seconds between each one, then it almost makes you impossible to kill. Now, just to continue on, segue into our next one, she's an amazing objective-based character. That survivability comes so key whenever you're trying to stop the other team from pushing a payload, that last few steps or whatever to finish the game off, and you're in overtime, or they're at 99 about to capture the objective and the game's gonna be over, going to go to round 2 or round 3 or whatever, and you just want to sit on there to make sure that they cannot do it. You just want to contest it. Even if it's 1v4, if you're doing your stuff right and they cannot burst you down, you're going to be able to hold them off basically infinitely, unless someone can come in there and they just focus you down. Another thing that MEI really does well is she's an amazing 1v1er. Now what I mean by that is, say you're running around the map, and you're tight corridors and you run into one person by themselves. Now given, if they get the jump on you, no matter what character you are, you're probably gonna die. But even if they get the slight jump on you, you turn around with your freeze gun, and if you have good aim and you don't waste the freeze gun, you're going to be able to basically freeze anybody and then headshot them with your right click. Now MEI has a lot of good things, but one of the last things I want to really touch on in this video, to not keep it super long, is that her ult is godlike if you use it with a good team. Now what I mean by that is it does damage over time, and it freezes them in place for your team to just wreak havoc on. Not only that, if you throw it on an objective with her survivability, it just kind of all wraps into her being a super sustainable character on an objective. So on the flip side of that, as much as she has all that survivability, she does fall short in the fact that if the team does focus you, or your 1 is down and then they know that and they play smart, and they have someone like Junkrat or something that can just burst you down, you will die very quickly. And like I mentioned earlier, she is an amazing 1v1er. You have to be able to aim and hit your autos, which means also your freeze gun and your right click. You don't want to miss that after you freeze somebody. So she struggles to kill if you are not able to hit those, and she struggles to kill if it's if you run into a 1v2 situation or a 1v3 situation. Like I mentioned earlier, you will be able to sustain on that objective and basically wait for your team to get there, but that's about all you're going to do, is you're going to basically contest the point. You are not going to be able to take 1v4 out, 1v3 out. Maybe if they're low and you have your ult, that's the only hope you have of getting a double kill or more. And like I said, it all kind of wraps up into a good point. I feel like she's a great character and she has great balance. She does lose some of her potential if not played with team synergy. Her ult, unless they are low, will not kill, and if they have a healer, you're basically going to waste your ult if you throw your ult there and then nobody acts out of it. So you really need to make sure you have a good team, whether it be with randoms and hope that they're good, or you play with other people. I feel like if you get into a lobby with your friends and everything like that and you call out that you're using your ult, you're going to excel with MEI. To wrap it all up, in conclusion, my first impressions of MEI: she has high survivability, an amazing ult if used properly with a team. She's an amazing objective-based character, and an amazing 1v1er. But she dies quickly if she's bursted down, and she can struggle to kill if you can't hit her autos, or if you run into more than a 1v1. And she heavily loses some potential if not played with team synergy. Alright guys, that's all I have for you right now. So leave a like if you enjoyed the video, or if you learned something, or you enjoyed my opinion on the matter, and comment on who you would like me to do next.